Two US Navy fast jets collide at an air show in North America, and I'm going to break it down for you and tell you exactly what happened. Before I do, guys, I teach all of this stuff in my school. It's called Shadowlands. So I taught in the Air Force for a long time. Here you go, online flying training on my website, fastjetperformance.com. Click that, and you go across. It will give you the whole syllabus. It gives you some films to have a look at as well, and you join a PDF. If you want to learn what I'm talking about today, this is how you get it. Simple sign up through Patreon, all the stuff here, read the reviews. I don't hide anything, guys. All I want to do in my school is make people better. And we'll be using films from my school today to explain that to you as well, guys, with some other tools. Now look at this here. So two US Navy EA-18G Growlers, kind of like the F-18 Hornet, a bit bigger, and these are electronic attack aircraft, so they saturate communication systems, air defense systems, all sorts of things really is what they do. But they were doing an air show, and they collided with each other. All four aircrew got out, and the jets were destroyed. And I just want to highlight ground news at the top there, channel sponsor. They will sort your biases out, guys. Really important that you do that, because we live in a crazy, crazy world.
Okay, we got four parachutes.
Yeah, the technical term for this, guys, is a schoolboy error. All right, I'm not going to dress it up at all. If these have been two of my people, I'm glad you're alive. We're going to have a chat though in my office. You are going to bring your hat, and I'm not going to feed you any coffee. What we'll do now then is we'll go through those tapes, and we're just going to fast forward it and bring it back again. I'm going to talk to you on a whiteboard just quickly about the position those aircraft are in before they actually hit each other. And remember, I teach all of this in my school. So this is the kind of position they were in. They're flying around in this kind of thing here. Now, it's not clear to me from the film whether this guy was actually rejoining into the formation from being out back here somewhere, or whether they were flying in what we call an arrow formation. The Americans would call it like a finger four or something weird language like that, or whether they're in like a more of a loose fighting wing formation, giving that wingman more flexibility to move around in this area. But either way, what's happened in the turn is this number 2 aircraft, the green one, has lost visual of the lead aircraft under his nose, basically. And there's many, many reasons for that. I want to talk to you about that right now. So initially, these aircraft are coming in. If you look at it, it looks like they're in a left-hand turn, doesn't it? But it's actually a bit of an illusion. They're sort of coming towards the camera here, and they're in a right-hand turn. So they're going away from our viewpoint. You can see the tail sticking up at the top there. And this guy's already in formation on the outside, this number 2 aircraft there. So as they do go around, what happens, and this is a very common thing, is the aircraft need to be what's called on the plane. I.e., the aircraft on the right-hand side, or the lower aircraft in this picture, needs to be at the same level as the other aircraft. Let me show you. It's a bit odd and it confuses people, so we're going to use an X-Wing here, and we're going to use a TIE fighter for this demonstration. Right, so what we do then is we're going to be in this position here, and we're going to try and stay in this position there, and that's everything you see in that particular film. The problem is, if you look at this head on, if our X-Wing in the lead, this one here, if he was to roll towards the TIE fighter like this, the TIE fighter needs to also roll, so they stay on the same line here. That's quite important, guys. They need to stay like this. That's quite important. Every pilot knows this. You need to stay what's called on the plane, i.e. level with the other aircraft. We need to stay on the plane. The problem is, if our lead aircraft, the X-Wing that is in the lead, if the X-Wing was to roll towards the TIE fighter, even if the TIE fighter does roll though at the same time, we've got a bit of an issue again, haven't we? Because now the TIE fighter cannot see this one below the nose. They're going to descend into it and they're going to crash into it. So when we roll, this is something that pilots get wrong all the time. They go, oh, I'm being rolled towards by my lead aircraft. I need to roll as well. That doesn't help. What you need to do is this number 2 aircraft here, TIE fighter, when your lead rolls towards you, you need to push down first. Leads towards, down, and now we can roll. If he rolls away from you, we need to pull up first. We're staying on the plane. You'll see the lead aircraft move a little bit in this, and I think that doesn't help the number 2 aircraft retain visual on him. So him or her, no one cares. So remember, they're coming towards the camera. They're going away now. They're turning. They're in a right-hand turn, right-hand turn, right-hand turn, right-hand turn, right-hand turn. Watch the lead. Watch him flex. There's the lead flex there. And I think that was enough. As the lead rolls out, he seems to push. You can't tell. I'll be real with you, you can't tell. I'd have to have the flight tapes from both of these guys. And it doesn't really matter what he did because the number 2 aircraft is there to stick, search and report. Basically, your job as number 2 is not to fly into the leader. That's all you've got to do. And what the number 2 aircraft has not done here is push down enough to stay on that plane. And therefore, the lead aircraft has gone beneath the nose of the number 2 aircraft, and then this happens. There's no breakout. There should be a breakout here. 2 should be breaking out up and away. I'm not visual. Up and away, I'll break out. It's an easy maneuver to do. But why don't they do it? Well, you're at an air show, aren't you? You don't want to be embarrassed. This is a little bit more embarrassing. That's a bit more embarrassing than breaking out. If there is doubt, there is no doubt. Give it a shout. Get out. All right. Move away from them. It's written in stone. It's written in the blood of many airmen and airwomen that have died before you. All right. And the truth is, you lost visual beneath the nose, and you've ended up looking like a dickhead. So that I'm not. Oh yeah, Tim, you're being nasty to these people. They're American heroes. Oh yeah, sure. We should be taking nose-tail separation on the lead aircraft, and also we should be from beneath. I'll show you a film in my school, and we have a hugely extensive resource in the school, guys, of all the syllabus. Here's the weapons syllabus here, if you're going to come and join, and here is the flying training one, the basic one. Here's the close formation section. We'll go in here, got loads of stuff, media. I'll get you the film now. So there's a video in here I want you to have a look at. So as I'm joining with someone, then I need to be beneath them. So if I'm going to be joining, which I don't think this guy was, but let's say he's going to be joining back into formation, you need to come in from beneath them, because if you come in from above them, you can't see them. As we get closer, we're still beneath them. So we've got an escape lane. Even as we're joining, we're still beneath them. So we can look up and see them because I can't see through the floor of my airplane. Then as we come alongside them, we can go up onto the wing. On the wing then, top surface happy, and we're inside. And this is what I mean from this picture here. If now this aircraft was to roll towards us, so this aircraft we're following rolls to the left, we need to push down first. Because if we just roll left as well, we're inside the cockpit of the number 2 aircraft here, then we just end up looking through the floor of our aircraft at the other airplane and we lose sight of them. If they roll away from us, we need to pull the stick back and keep up on that plane. This picture needs to be the same, whether we're upside down, 90 degrees, it doesn't matter. You must see a little bit of top surface of that wing at all times when you're in formation with another aircraft. And we record a lot of material in the school. This is a guy doing exactly what happened there in that film you've just seen. There's a bit of music to it. We'll just play it, shall we? So he's coming in to join, loses sight from beneath him, and this is exactly what happened to one of my students. And in my school, we have a lot of tapes, guys, and this is me joining an aircraft. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play it when I actually do join them. But the main thing here is to show you that we join from below. Head-up display, nicely low. Now, idle. Well, not idle. Air brake, air brake. Stand the throttles up. If you need them, you can come to idle with the throttles if you need to. If you start slowing, throttles back up again, guys. Air brake in, up to the top surface. Keep that energy to climb to the top surface of the wing there. Driving yourself forward to square off that rear. Those jet pipes, square them off, see the top surface of the wing. And that's me back on the plane of the aircraft. I'm on the wing of the aircraft. If he was to roll towards me, I push down first to stay on that wing. If he rolls away, I pull back first to stay on that wing. I don't let him get beneath my nose, because if I do, I don't see him anymore. And when I was teaching on Hawk, this is what it looks like when a student breaks away from the formation. You just pull, you get out, you just get away from them. And then you return back to them, you have a look, you ask to join, they bring you back in. That's what should have happened at Mountain Home. Now remember, all that stuff is available on my school. I teach this the whole time. This is a failure to track your lead, unfortunately. And we're going to have a look at the aftermath of this now as well. So, okay, the two jets have come together, and that's a bit weird, isn't it? But one thing I will tell you in aviation is that when aircraft actually do impact each other, it's nothing like you think it is. Some crazy stuff. I could tell you some stories. All right, not enough time on this tape. But what's happening here, you've either got a jet impaled on another jet, which is pretty unlikely to be fair, or I think's happening here is one of the jets has impacted the back of another jet. Engines live there. These are slow speed, maybe 300 knots, whatever, and it's rotated the initial F-18 or EA-18 against the airflow, high alpha, and it's pressed its body against it. They're both going to do this. Now you've got 300 knots of airflow pushing against that lead aircraft and keeping the other aircraft attached to it. That airflow now there is just pushing both those jets together. It may well have impelled it, but there's not enough of those rotational forces. I just think they're just not stuck together as such. I don't think there's anything that's kind of necessarily... I think the fins are probably broken off. We saw the debris fly off there initially. I'll show you that now. There's debris coming off there. You can see that debris now. It's probably a bit of fin, anything like that. And they're just pressed up against each other with airflow now. And now as it rotates, both aircraft are falling. And that guy, whoever that was that pulled him out the back seat, The thing is, when things go wrong in aviation, they go wrong really quickly. But the best thing you can do is nothing initially. All right, nothing initially. It's called sit on your hands. Sit on the hands. Wait to see what happens.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
Oh no!
And it's command ejection. So when one person pulls, the other person comes out as well, with a few milliseconds of a gap, so the seats can one can go out, the other seat goes out, so they don't hit each other. They've done a pretty good job to get out of there, to be fair. To reiterate the whole incident then, these jets are turning right as they come around there. The jet below obviously gets himself a little bit high, it looks like, doesn't correct it. And as the lead jet rolls out, you stay high because you should be obviously pushing down to stay on the wing. You don't stay on the wing, you've got a bit of closing speed, you lose them, you don't break out. You should break out, you probably go, two's blind, bang. Don't get out there, wait for it, wait for it. Yeah, we're getting out now. Bang, 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 bang. Guys, look, if you don't like the way I describe these incidents, I fully understand that. But the truth is, you've got to be direct when you're talking about aviation. You can't go, oh, yeah, brave American pilots managed to get out. No, 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 they fucked it. Let's be honest. Of course they did. Yeah, absolutely right. Who's responsible for this, by the way? I hate to say it, and I know people won't agree with me, but technically the supervising officer of this formation is responsible for the fact that there was inadequate training for this particular event to take place. This is a bit of a schoolboy error. I wouldn't expect any students in my school to say that. In fact, one of my students actually said here, not what we're taught in this school. That's what they've written down there. That's one of my guys. I think this guy's in IT. He's not a pilot, and yet even he knows that that shouldn't be the thing that's done. You don't lose sight of your lead under your nose. And even this video I made, actually in the same aircraft, this is an F-18, we teach it in my school, you can see that I'm remaining on the plane of my lead. If he rolls towards me, I'll go down. If he rolls away, I'll climb up. But I stay on that plane. And if I do close in, I take separation on him. I stay below. I drive myself in, so I've got an escape lane. Then I come up onto the plane. This is a student of mine. I'm being led by a student that I trained in my school. Look how good he is here, coming in there. I mean, all my students are like this. There's no difference, guys, all right? But this video is about 4 videos back on my YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing a bit more of that. Really appreciate it, guys. If you want to join the school, jump in. Fastjetperformance.com. You'll find it on there. Tim Davies, Fastjet Performance.